Yes, hey dopes. Folks, what I'm going to be doing here is providing everyone with some information regarding the freedom movement, how to assert your freedoms. Uh, and what I'm going to be covering here is my personal viewpoints on these matters, what I think is wrong with the way a lot of things are being done, and give you some of what I've learned. Every now and then I'm going to express a lot of frustration, impatience, and anger towards so-called patriots in this movement because they frustrate the hell out of me. And there's a lot of gripers and complainers and whiners out there in the movement. They're not being constructive to creating change the way they need to be. I appreciate the work of Alex Jones a great deal. I think he documents things very well. What I don't appreciate at all about what he does is his fear promotion. He's very into promoting fearful outcomes that mass consciousness is slowly but surely latching on to more and more, and helping to create these outcomes. I'm a firm believer that in mass conscious change, when you present an idea to a wide scale of people or incite a bunch of people, change happens. The kind of change he's promoting, I don't care to have anything to do with. Now, his heart's in the right place, so I support him in that regard, and I support his documentation. I just disagree strongly with the way he's trying to promote this change. What he's not doing is presenting the remedies, the alternatives. Instead, what he's gathering up is a gargantuan audience full of whiners and complainers who just want the government, their God, their new God, to allow them privileges that they shouldn't have. If you're underneath the government, if you've registered to vote, if you play in the Democrat and Republican paradigm, you have privileges, folks. You do not have inherent rights. Pull your heads out from your butts and realize that. It's not the libertarians, it's not Ron Paul, although I support those ideals. I think they're fantastic ones that are going to get us where we're trying to go. It's about understanding your inherent God-given rights under your rights that you were born with. Now, in that regard, I'm going to cover immediately how I feel about religion and Christianity, just so that you know where I'm at with it. I do not support religion in any context. I am very much against Christianity. I don't believe in it. And that applies to all religions. It's not just Christian specific. I don't believe in Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, etc. I don't believe in any kind of religions at all. I do, however, believe in God. I just don't claim to understand the nature of God the way Christians do and all the rest of the people do. Now I'm gonna really ride Christians on occasion because there's so many of them in this so-called patriot movement, and in this country because our fictitious form of government, our fiction, is based in large part on Christianity. I appreciate that and I understand it. However, I disagree with it. I sympathize in large part with the Native Americans. The Christians came over here and basically decimated the wonderful culture that they had, so that's another reason why I have problems with Christianity. A lot of you out there are going to attack me, saying, oh, he's anti-Christian, so he can't be good, he must be a part of the Illuminati and all that stuff. Look, I do tend to believe that the Illuminati does probably exist. I listen to conspiracy theories, and I believe that some of them can be accurate. Absolutely so. I fully understand the nature of the Federal Reserve. I've studied law for a long time. Listen to me and learn what you can and to benefit. I've been through a lot in and out of the court system to assert freedoms. I've learned a tremendous amount. I'm going to share all of my secrets with you to show you how to get to where you're trying to go to assert your freedoms. This is fantastic information, I promise. It is extremely applicable to the folks here in New York State. I've studied New York criminal and civil law heavily, especially the criminal side, because that's where our freedoms come into play. And I understand how the federal system is tying into it, and I can show you the things that none of the judges are telling you. Folks, there is a grand deception going on. It's designed to intimidate you, cause you fear, in order to get your voluntary cooperation, and that is all there is to it. I will occasionally venture down the lines of theory and how things are working, such as the Jordan Maxwell stuff. I think a lot of that is fascinating and applicable to what is actually going on because I can prove it. I am huge on documenting what I'm about and what I promote. I will only touch on theory as part of our learning experience, but what I will give you instead is the actual remedy that will produce results. Folks, we are in a soft revolution. That's all there is to it. I'm not talking about using guns here to hurt people. Although I am, of course, 110% pro-Second Amendment, the whole point of owning guns is to protect us from the government. Notice how that issue is never brought up when it comes to the right to bear arms. It's always about personal defense and all that bull crap. It has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with protecting ourselves from this dang out-of-control government. I'm going to get really ticked off at a lot of people who are going to respond to this. I'm not going to respond to hardly any personal emails, but what I will instead do is leave the comment fields wide open, my comments on my channel wide open, and I will respond to people through video when they present good, decent questions, instead of responding directly to people through email because I just don't have time, and to be honest, I don't have patience. What I'm discovering is that so many people are so ignorant, the learning curve required to get them to where they're trying to go, I don't have time for individual people. If you're in New York and you write to me privately because you have specific situations you're dealing with, I'll see if I can help you. What I like to focus on heavily is traffic law, because once you understand the nature of traffic law, you can apply it to the rest of the criminal crap that the government tries to trap you into. Traffic is a great place to start because we all travel. Folks, when you're born, you have a God-given right to movement, period. That right to movement carries over into using your automobile to get yourself from one place to another. Now again, a lot of people will be confused because I believe in God. I just don't pretend to have answers about the nature of God, and they will not understand why I'm a Christian. I'm going to go down those roads on occasion because I'm also trying to change the thought processes regarding the nature of religion. I'm a firm believer it is hindering humanity hugely. I am a fan of the zeitgeist material. I don't agree with it completely, but I am awfully glad it finally came out, and that's where I largely am directed. If you are one of these die-hard fundamentalist type Christians, I would be happy to work with you towards our freedom quest as long as you can keep your Christianity away from me. I want nothing to do with it. I've had my spiritual beliefs since I was a tiny kid, and I'm in my 40s now. And I want nothing to do with your religion, nothing. As long as you can keep it separate, I would be happy to work with you. If you can't keep it separate, leave me alone. Stay away from my channel. Don't learn from me. I do not want to associate with you because I want nothing to do with your religion, and I don't want it impacting my family. And on that note, if our country does crumble and the world starts to crumble, and any Christian faction comes into play to try to take over this country, I will fight to the death to keep your religion away from my family. That's how strongly I feel about it. I would do the same against any religion that tried to take over my life. On that note, if you're open-minded and have a good heart and can keep your Christianity away from me or your religion, no matter what it is, we can work together towards freedom. I have a lot to offer, a lot you can learn from. I look forward to working with you. Pay attention. You will learn how to assert yourself. You must have the mentality of being willing to go to jail for anywhere from a couple hours to several days to get the government off your back. Once you learn what I teach you about the remedies that are available to you through your inherent rights, the government will leave you alone. If you're not going to go to jail, this is the soft revolution, folks. If you're not willing to go to jail, don't listen to my material. I don't want to deal with you. I only want to deal with active people. People who are active and wanting to create personal freedom. Keep listening if that's you.